What up, though, y'all? It's Chris. Appreciate you connecting with me while I get these steps in today. Listen, this story I got to talk to y'all about today. Man, this is a doozy. It's about some judge. He here in Detroit, man. So it pains me that it's somebody from here, but got to talk about it, man, because this is just it's that absurd. We got a group of kids, teenagers. They were sitting in the courtroom for a field trip. Pardon the wind. It's a little breezy where I'm walking at now. But they were in court for a field trip. All right. One of the students, a girl, I don't know, she's like 13, 14 years old. She was falling asleep in the courtroom. The judge took this as just the epitome of disrespect, and he ordered her to be put in a jumpsuit like she's a prisoner, and also handcuffed. Now, the jumpsuit, he is already way over the line. All right, like this is just way over the line, man. What are you doing? But then to have her handcuffed too. This is just a power trip of epic proportions. When I saw the clip, I just really couldn't believe how absurd this was. And I couldn't label it as anything other than a power trip, because what else possibly could this be? He said he didn't like her attitude. So he woke her up and he said to her, you don't sleep in my courtroom, you sleep at home in your bed. Just the aggressiveness that he was, exuding when this is just some kids there for a field trip. It was so inappropriate for the situation. Like, why are you being this aggressive, man, over this? I can see if she's a defendant in your courtroom, I get it. There's a line of respect you want to hold. But man, you being way over the top for this circumstance. It's a student. He's after he said this about what was it? You sleep in your bed at home, you don't sleep here. She apologized to him. She said she was sorry that she didn't get very much sleep last night, or something of that nature. And he said he didn't like her attitude. What attitude, man? She literally is saying she's sorry. What attitude are you talking about? So that's why I say, this just had to be some sort of power trip, because you confronted the girl. He's already way aggressive for the circumstance. When confronted, she apologizes, and the apology isn't enough. Like, that should have ended it right there. He never should have had the attitude that he had with her to begin with. But let's say, he's trying to be firm with her. And when she apologizes, though, that really should have been the end of it there. The having her placed in a prisoner jumpsuit and handcuffed. Why would you think this is something to do, man? I'm really trying to understand. Why would you think that's something to do? Why would you think that's okay? He claims he was trying to teach her a lesson or something, and he wanted the experience to seem as real as possible for her, because there was like public outcry behind this, because it was pretty absurd. Understandably so. People who seen this, they imagine their kid in this situation, and how upset they would be if he treated their kid this way. So yeah, instead of expressing any sort of remorse, he's like doubling down on the stupid. So I was, as y'all could tell, I was pretty blown away by this because again, sometimes you just have to exercise grace and a little bit of patience, especially when you're dealing with children, other people's children at that. They're not there as defendants. They're there as students. They are there on a field trip. I cannot stress that enough. Sorry, judge, what you got going on is not that interesting to this 13-year-old girl or 14-year-old girl. In her case, it's not that it was uninteresting. It was just that she was tired. Now, why was she tired? Well, according to her mother, they don't have a stable place. They like moving from place to place, couch to couch. You know, they don't have somewhere to stay right now. They're staying wherever they can. And that's why, you know, she's not getting the rest that she needs because, you know, they're unstable situation. So the whole, you sleep in your bed, you don't sleep in here. Oops. You didn't know what you were talking about, man. You making assumptions about somebody's situation, somebody's life, and you have no idea about them. Just be kind to people, man. Like, really, you don't have to be like that. You don't have to be a hard ass dealing with everybody. Just be kind to people. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. And that's very cliche, but it stands as a message. It stands as just a way of moving, you know, because now he's been removed from the bench until some sort of training, until he gets some needed training or whatever. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't usually advocate for anybody being fired, but in this case, I don't think that's enough. I'm not saying this judge should be fired because I don't really advocate for people to be fired. But the whole, until he gets training, I don't know about that. That sounds really soft. It sounds like a slap on the wrist. You know, considering what this girl went through, you know, the girl's not going to forget this. This was a very traumatic experience for her. It was a very embarrassing experience for her. He did not have to, you know, he was already embarrassing her in front of the class that she's there with. You know, he's already embarrassing her by like being all snippy and, you know, wake up and you don't sleep here, you sleep at home. That was enough. You got to know when to like stop. You know, you got to know when to cut it and let stuff go instead of, oh, I am the judge of this courtroom, I'm the god of this courtroom, and you will respect me, you're going to do everything. You know, yeah, I get it, you do that with defendants, but even with defendants, you gotta know when to scale back and just chill. Like, he was being just way over the top for the circumstance. So he had an opportunity, and I think this is one of the more sad elements about it. He had an opportunity to, you know, reprimand her, but at the same time, you know, teach her what being in court is like, what's seeing the legal system from that side is like. And he instead wasted that opportunity to traumatize her, essentially, because, you know, she's likely gonna have, you know, a very negative view and opinion about judges for the rest of her life. She's never gonna forget this situation. Her family likely is gonna sue, and it's gonna settle. And who's gonna have to pay for the settlement? People like myself. You know, the settlement's not gonna come out of his pay. It's not gonna come out of anything for him. The settlements, the taxpayers are gonna have to pay for what he did, and that's why I just believe that the whole training thing is just a little too, light, because he's essentially going to cost the taxpayers, more likely than not, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, let's just be for real here. There's going to be emotional distress and all that sort of stuff. And emotional distress, whenever I see that be thrown around, it usually ends up costing at the very least hundreds of thousands of dollars. So they're definitely going to sue the city, and they're gonna get it, because I mean, honestly, she should get it. In this case, she should get it, because what she had to endure over the circumstances was just unnecessary and just totally, there was just no reason for it. There's just no explaining it away. There's no justifying it. It was just totally unreasonable. This was a very irrational judge that has an ego that really needs to be checked. And I can only hope that when he's, able to come back, that he doesn't move like this again. He was just tripping way too tough this day. I don't know if he woke up on the wrong side of the bed. He didn't have his coffee. His wife ain't do the things for him that he liked, because she mad at him. I don't know, but he was way out of pocket for the way he was moving, man. So, again, he had an opportunity to show her the ins and outs of the law. Instead, he opted to traumatize her and embarrass her. And things he was saying were just totally unnecessary. You go to sleep in your bed at home and this and that. And I mean, okay, yeah, there's no way he could have known her situation. There's no way he could have known that, and I understand that. But at the same time, because you don't know people's situation, you don't comment about their personal life or whatnot. You don't know this girl from the next, girl that's gonna come in the next, class trip, or came in the previous class trip. So you just, it doesn't cost you anything to just treat people well. It doesn't cost you anything to just be a decent human being. This judge, he could honestly be an okay guy in his personal life. He probably has friends and family that love and care about him, who he's good to, he treats well, he takes care of. I don't doubt that whatsoever. But it's when he be, supposed to be professional. That's where he really failed. When he was supposed to be a professional, when he was supposed to represent being a judge in the city of Detroit, he fell flat on that. He did not represent us well, and now his very inappropriate actions, they're gonna cost us. Under no circumstance should a kid that shows up to to court on a field trip end up handcuffed and in a jumpsuit because they dozed off. Even if her living situation wasn't what it was, and she just dozed off because it was boring, so what? You wake her up, hey, young lady, do you need to go in the hallway? Send her in the hallway. Like, all that extra stuff was just totally unnecessary, man. I'm really surprised he behaved like this, but here we are. So I'm gonna leave it there. This whole thing is truly disappointing. I'm sure y'all can tell by just my tone with this. This is not something that I enjoyed having to share with y'all, because it, home. Like, I don't like when stuff happens here with the people here that reflects negatively on the city as a whole, because we already deal with unnecessary, scrutiny as it is, just because we kind of got a rough around the edges reputation. Some of it is earned, some of it not so much. But doing stuff like this, it doesn't reflect well on us as a city. And I think that's why it's so disappointing for me. But I'm leaving it there. Appreciate y'all connecting with me. I'm gonna continue these steps. Thumbs up this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm gonna holler at y'all soon. Peace.